girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty enthusiast and consultant that loves to talk about everything that deals with beauty and makeup, and today Hindash is on the agenda. I purchased the whole Monochromance collection with the boy tiers, both the eyeliner and the lip liner, and one of the lipstick balms. And I am going to do 3 looks with this palette, and then I'm going to compare these 2 palettes together for the eyes and the face. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it, and let's get right into this video. So I actually never purchased Beautopsy. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Never purchased it because when I saw it, I was like, that's beautiful, it's innovative, but I don't see myself reaching for something like this, so I just left it on the table. I also typically don't go for all matte looks, so I was just like, I don't know if that palette is just going to sit and collect dust. However, when I saw the promo pictures for Monochromance, I was like, now that's something I could get into. And then, you know, because I love to be comparing things, I was like, well, I have to compare the 2 because which one is better? Okay, and so that's why I picked up both of these. So let's just jump right into this video with the demonstration. So first I started off with the Monochromance palette. This palette does retail for $70, just like the Beautopsy palette, and it comes with a total of 6 shades, but you can of course use any gradient, any variation of these shades together. So in total, we can get about 24 variations of shadows and colors. It says this second palette features Hindash's innovative gradient pressed pigments with a vegan high-performance ultra-blendable formula. The shadows are buildable and made to mix or wear alone as full monochromatic looks. The eyeshadows are supposed to never be muddy, only with a second skin feel. And the pure matte powder technology and vegan formula enable an enhanced glide, seamless blendability that translates into an optimal, long-lasting wear. So I started off this first eye look with the eye kohl. This eye kohl does retail for $19. There's only 1 shade, and he calls this the eye tone eye pencil in the shade Intra. So it's a vegan slim wooden pencil with an extremely blendable, high-intensity creamy formula. And I would definitely agree. As you saw in the demonstration, I used it to initially kind of lay down an outline for the eye look. You could easily blend it in with a brush. You could also blend it with your finger. It's very, very creamy, but I didn't feel like the formula of this eye pencil was overly creamy to where it kind of just blended everywhere and then like completely blended away. So the formula of these eyeliners remind me of the Wayne Goss eyeliners, which I absolutely love and I swear by, because of that creamy formula that allows you to use the eye pencil as either an eyeshadow itself, or you can use it as an eye pencil. I am gonna have to report back on the longevity of this pencil because this is a first impression. I have not had this look on long enough to tell you, yes, it stays in place all day for the lower lash line, but I will say that in terms of formula, it is definitely gonna be an eye pencil that I will reach for time and time again, even if it is just to use it on the upper lid because it is so creamy, and it could be used for a nice base for an eye look or just an eye look in and of itself. The eyeshadows are very, very blendable. They're so creamy and very seamless. Like the description of these shades and these shadows are quite accurate. They are buildable, so especially for some of these lighter shades, I would say this shade right here and then these shades right here, you can build them up to get more color payoff so that you can get a little bit more depth, and I was happy about that. With these shades though, they are more pastel shades, so obviously we're not gonna get like the most intensity of color because the shades themselves are just, if I could say, kind of naturally light, but using a flat shader brush, I was able to build up the intensity to my liking and get the pigmentation that I wanted. So for this first eye look, I used more so of these pinky shades right here. And for the second eye look, I wanted to concentrate on this purple lavenderish and then this teal shade. I will say that when I started off using the shade Inked, I think because I mixed in one of these shades here, I think it was that shade, that, if I could say, I felt like this shade pulled more green in the eye look because of mixing that yellow with some of the blue tones in the shade. I feel like we got more of a green look versus what this shade looks like in the pan. When I applied this shade on the lower lash line, I did feel like at that point you kind of saw that more bluish hue to it versus the greenish hue that you saw on the upper lash line. Using the purple shade, I do really like this shade, but it is light. I would say this is like a true pastel shade right here, and I don't feel like you're going to get too much pigmentation or like too much depth from it because it is more of just a lighter purple shade. So I was able to build it up, but I felt like overall it still looked quite light on the eye. So just putting that out there, especially if you have a deeper complexion, just know that if you want to use these shades, that you might need to put something underneath it so that these shades can really pop against your complexion, or just know that these shades are going to just look light against your skin tone, because I felt for my skin tone, some of these shades just looked a little more light than what I thought that they would look. And so I just want to put that out there. When I went to go use this on the face, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go here and basically kind of mix these two shades together to bronze my face. And I do feel like it worked really well as a bronzer. I was like, okay. I liked the tone of both of those shades mixed together. I think it gave my face a nice warmth, but it wasn't too warm, too red, or anything like that. It was like a nice neutral-ish bronze to the face. And then for my nose contour, I went in with these two shades mixed together since this shade is going to be more cool. And I thought it did really well for the nose contour as well. I wanted to see if this shade would show up on my face by itself, and it didn't. So I was gonna show you a clip of that, and then when I noticed nothing showed up on my face, I was like, well, there's no reason for that. This shade does not work against my complexion, even as like a contour by itself. So overall, I was just like, okay. That is how I felt after I was done with using this palette. Now, with the Boy Tears, I was really intrigued by this formula and this particular product, especially when I saw the swatches of it. I was like, okay, I do have a lot of highlighters, but maybe I need this one. It says that this is going to be a universal multi-pearl champagne shimmer topper, okay? So a shimmer topper. It's going to be created to transform and complement all of your gradient palette applications, either with Beautopsy or Monochromance. It says using the Boy Tears will create a 3-dimensional liquid metal effect. The formula is vegan, waterproof, long-lasting. It says that you can get a 1-stroke application, pure color vibrancy. The formula is going to be ultra thin and lightweight. And formulated without parabens, D5, or fragrance. So I will admit, this definitely dries down quite quickly. It reminds me of the Danessa Myricks Illuminating Veil, meaning that I feel like this works better with your finger. The warmth of your finger will help the product to move more, and then also help you to blend it in quickly into the skin before it dries down. I had put the Boy Tears on my palette and used it from there. And when I went to go clean my palette, maybe like 30 minutes later, I was like scrubbing trying to get the Boy Tears off because they had completely dried down and was like stuck to my palette, which does attest to the long-lasting formula and it staying in place. Just to do a quick swatch so you can see how this formula looks. So it is very thin in how it feels. It feels very soft. You don't feel any type of like glitter chunks, any sparkles or anything like that when you rub against it. Even though you do see like this metallic finish of the pigment, it doesn't feel like there's any glitter chunks or anything like that. So I really do like that about the product. When applied to the cheeks, so I have it on the cheeks right now, and you already saw it in the demonstration earlier. You can see like a nice glow, and it does show some texture of the product on the skin, but not enough to where I would be turned off. And I typically do not like to see any glitter chunks, any type of texture like that on my skin, especially on my face, because more times than not, I'm not wearing makeup for like purposes where, you know, glitter and like pronounced metallic is okay on the face. I'm fine with that on the eyes, but for my highlighters on my face, I really want them to be smooth and seamless. So this does have a little more texture to it when I look at it up close, but from a distance and also looking at it up close, I don't feel like it looks bad at all, and it really does blend into the skin. So I'm just adding more to my highlight based on what I had on my finger. It's a gorgeous color, and I really do feel like this shade will work for a really good amount of complexions. I really do. Even if you have like deep, rich skin, I think this will look just like a beautiful glow against your skin because it doesn't have a base to it at all. So really your complexion will be the base for this highlighter, and then you'll just have this beautiful sheen and glow. So these are really pretty. I liked the way they look on the eyes, and I liked that you could build up the concentration of the Boy Tears to whatever intensity you wanted on the eyes. So if you wanted something, if you just wanted like the slightest bit of shimmer on the eyes, you can get that type of application. If you wanted something a little more intense, you could do that as well. I didn't want to swipe the pigment directly onto my eye looks because I didn't want to mess them up, and I'm like, this is my first time using the product. But I would definitely assume that if you did swipe on the pigment on your eyes and then blended it out from there, you could definitely get more intensity from it. So I do like that this particular product is universal. I really do like it. And then for the lips, I picked up his Lip Tone lip pencil in the shade Hush. This also retails for $19, and it's a vegan slim wooden pencil with an extremely blendable high intensity cream formula. It's going to have a soft satin finish, high intensity, and it is formulated without parabens or talc. This as well, extremely creamy and blendable. For the first look, I just used this as my lip color, and then I added some Boy Tears over it, and I was like, I can rock with this lip pencil. I really, really like this. Just like with the eye pencil, I will have to report back to the longevity of the pencil as to how it wears. Just off of how it feels, I don't see this lip pencil being one that's going to last all day. And it also doesn't have a claim to be like a long-lasting lip pencil. But I do feel like if you wanted it to last longer, you could obviously set your lips with powder and then apply the lip liner over top, and then maybe apply some powder over top so that, you know, it has something to stick to and grip to. I had like a very thin layer of lip moisturizer on my lips when I applied it. So I do feel like it kind of took away from maybe the intensity of the lip liner, but it was very comfortable moving it around on my lips. I didn't feel like it was like scraping along my lips or, you know, really pulling on my lips like some pencil formulas do. So I really like it. Just like with the eyeliner, this shade that I have is the only shade of his lip liners. So for the first look, I was just like, okay, I think I might like this. I was like, all right, let's put Monochromats against Beautopsy. So I started with Beautopsy, and this was my first time using this palette. This palette also does retail for $70, and just like the Monochromance palette, you can use this along the face, anywhere along the face that you would typically apply any type of color. So working with this eye look here, I started off with, I want to say maybe tan lines. I mixed tan lines or tan and feel together and used that as my transition. Then I wanted to get some depth to the eye look, so I went in with Phantom, and then eventually I started kind of mixing these two together, Phantom and Intra. And that's what I used to create the depth for the outer edge of the eye and then the lower lash line. And I really liked the shade Love and Kills. So went in with Love for the shade along the eyes and really just blended that in, and that was the eye look for that side. Nothing too intense, because for this I just wanted to see the differences and maybe the intensity of shades and so forth. So these eye looks are quite simple just for comparison purposes. And then I went back into Monochromance, and I think I started out with mixing Alter and Made together. that's what I used for my transition. And then I just went in with just Made for the outer edge of the upper lash line and the lower lash line. For the actual eyelid color, I used Throb first, and then I went in with Heavy, kind of mixed those two shades together. And that's what I got for those eye looks. And so, like I said, I wanted to do both of these looks to see how do these matte shadows just look on the eyes by themselves, and then in terms of colors, like is there any difference in colors in like the combinations that I wanted to use. And I feel like for the two eye looks that I created, for the most part, no matter what complexion you are, these eye looks are going to show up, with a caveat of this. This shade called Made is definitely not going to be a depth color for someone who has rich pigmentation. I saw on Hindash's website that they used probably this row here for someone who had a really beautiful rich complexion, and it was kind of like the pop of color on the lid, but it definitely wasn't like a depth shade or anything like that because it's just going to be too light. So if you have a deeper complexion, this is definitely going to be a complement palette for you. You would need to reach outside of this palette for any of your deepening shades, your depth shades, and so forth. And then for the face, with Beautopsy, I wanted to use these two shades mixed together for the cheek color, and I really like those shades. And then for the Monochromance palette, I mixed these two shades for the cheek color. Oh, I forgot about bronzer. I used this shade for bronzer from Monochromance, and then for Beautopsy, I used these shades for my bronzer. As you all saw earlier, I did use the Boy Tears on the cheeks here for highlight. And then on the lips, I went back in with the lip liner to line my lips, and then I topped it with the lipstick balm. Now this is a good formula. I like that this has the feel of a lip balm, but then it has pigmentation like a lipstick. So this is really beautiful packaging. It's got a silver bullet, Hindash on the bottom of the lipstick, and then I also like his logo on the cap. And then of course, this is the shade here. So this is the Manifesto Lipstick in the shade Restin' Roses. There are two shades of lipstick and I just picked this one. So Manifesto is a series of lipsticks and tinted matte balms in color tones delicately constructed by Hindash. So it's an ultra thin matte finish, silky texture, hybrid tint, hydrating balm, sheer to medium coverage, and lightweight. So this is going to be a matte lip balm, but I had gloss on, so that's why mine looks a little more glossy. But it is a matte lip balm. This is what it looks like. I swatched it here, but you can still see some of the gloss from my lip gloss. So this is what it looks like in its more, you know, natural formula. Very, very, very hydrating to the lips. Feels like you're putting on a balm, but with pigmentation. And I like that you actually get really good pigmentation from this type of formula. So I really do like the lipstick, and like I said, I like that it's a balm, that it's hydrating, and that it feels really good on the lips. So overall, we've got two full faces of makeup with these Hindash palettes, and I get to tell you my thoughts. So I think if you're someone who likes to like use one thing, you're like, look, Chelsea, I want to use a total of like 5 makeup products for a full face, and that's it. You would love either of these palettes because you can do bronzer, blush, eyeshadow, all of the above with these palettes. I would say if you have a deeper, richer complexion, go with Beautopsy. Or if you want to get the Monochromance palette, just know that you're going to be using this as an addition to, you know, some other shades. Like I said, you aren't going to have your depth shades in here, and you might want to reach outside of this palette if you want some deeper, richer shades. I think anybody could use Beautopsy. And I think this is probably going to be his most versatile palette because you have a beautiful array of cooler and warmer tone shades. And if you are even fair, you know, fair to the fairest of the fairs, this shade right here would work great as a bronzer. And if you have a deep, rich complexion, you could mix these two together to have your bronzer. And then this row right here would be for medium complexions, you know, tan to medium complexions. Any of these other shades would work well as blushes. And like we saw in the demonstration, I used this shade or these shades right here to set my under eye. So I think this is the most versatile palette that he has that I can see really working well for essentially almost any complexion, any way that they want to use it. There's a shade in here for them. Even if you are of a deeper complexion and you're looking for like an under eye setting powder, you could mix maybe this shade and these shades here, or maybe this shade and these shades depending on your undertone to get that under eye setting powder. So I really think this is such a great palette for versatility and for people who are like, I really just want to reach for one palette and it do literally as much as it can for my face. Monochromance in general is going to be a complement palette, and I think that's what Hindash made it for, to complement Beautopsy or any other makeup products that you have. But if you have about anywhere from about my complexion, maybe a shade or so deeper to lighter, you can use this across the face essentially for any look that you want, because you've got a couple of blush shades, or like you saw in the demonstration, I mixed these two shades together for a blush. So you've got a few different blush shades. You've of course got plenty of eye looks in here, and you also have variations of cooler and warmer tone shades so that you can get some versatility of looks. But if you have a deeper, richer complexion, obviously you're not going to be able to use any of these shades to complement, you know, your under eye concealer or to bronze the face, because these shades are going to be too light. So I would say this is in general going to be a nice complement palette, or more so your eye and cheek palette if you have a deeper complexion. So in terms of what I think that these palettes are really great. I think the formula is excellent, and I do think that these are so uniquely crafted. For me, I'm gonna use these palettes in addition to other palettes. I assume, I will report back, but I assume I will reach for a Beautopsy more than I will reach for a Monochromance, because I can just get more looks out of this palette. And I feel like I can do more with this palette in terms of using it all over the face. I also like the shades in this palette more, and I like the richness of these shades. So I initially thought Monochromance would have been my favorite because of the lighter tones and, like, you know, the pretty springy tones. But I off of, you know, first impression, I really believe that Beautopsy is my more favorite one, just, you know, like I said, off of first impression. In terms of the lips and the eye pencil, I think these are such a beautiful formula, and I'm really glad that I picked them up because I most definitely will be using these time and time again. And the Boy Tears, this is so unique. This might be my favorite product that I used today just because of how pretty it is. It's such a gorgeous topper. And like I said, if you have this, just work quickly wherever you wanna put it. Don't like apply it. Like I wouldn't apply, you know, 2 stripes on the face and blend over here first, because by the time you get over here, it might have started to dry down and then it might not move where and how you want it to move. But, you know, working with a small amount at a time, you can really build this up to just be splendid on the face. I think it is gorgeous. And then, like I said, really enjoyed the lip balm. I think this is such a beautiful formula, and I'm glad that I picked it up. So all in all, I would say that this was a very good video. I, though, do love shimmer, okay? And if you know me, you know that I like to pick up one palette to do a full look. So I like these palettes because I can do a full look with them, but I also do wish I had some shimmer. Like if he came out with like a palette like this with shimmer and mattes, I would be all over that, because the formula of these mattes is good, like good. And like I said, they're blendable and the pigmentation is there. So let me know your thoughts down below as to how you feel any of the eye looks came out. Let me know your thoughts on both of these palettes, the Boy Tears, the lip balms, the eye and lip pencil. Tell me all the things in the comment section. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.